routes. And we were formed in 1988 to oppose the Norwich Inner Ring Road, Phase 3. And we succeeded in doing that. We defeated the scheme at an inquiry in '92, and that paved the road for the network of bus park and ride sites around Norwich. So this is an example of actually how local communities can oppose big development schemes and that they can change the agenda for the better. A bit about the history of the NDR. It's quite an old scheme. It came out of a study in 1988. It was then called the Northern Bypass. It went around the whole of the north of Norwich. It was dropped in 1996 on environmental and financial grounds. It then came back onto the agenda in 2000 as a Northern Distributor Road. At that stage, it went end to end around the north of Norwich. The county made it into a three-quarters route because the River Wensum crossing, that's a river of European importance. And then last December, the government said it was going to give funding for just half a route to the airport, so it's really half a route NDR. Actually, it's called a Northern Distributor Road, but we call it the Northern Development Road because actually that's really what it is. And if we defeat this road, then we'll go some way to defeating the scale of growth planned, because in wanting to fund the road, the County Council has tried to attract development in order to pay for it, and so the councils asked the government for Norwich to be made a growth point so that they can attract infrastructure funding to help build an NDR. So why do we oppose an NDR? Well, the county's got several conflicting aims in relation to the road. It wants to reduce traffic congestion, but at the same time wants to open up the countryside around North Norwich for extensive development. So we're opposed to the NDR because it's a development road and it's not going to solve our traffic problems. So the area between the NDR and the city is proposed for carpet development in a growth triangle. And the first handout here shows this huge growth triangle, and the dotted line is the NDR, which forms the boundary of the growth area. The growth area is going to comprise of up to 10,000 new houses. Now, on the back of your growth area map is another map. This was actually attached by the Greater Norwich Development Partnership to sent to the government as part of their bid for money for Poswick Hub, which is the first stage of the NDR. They're seeking £21 million. They say that the Poswick Hub is needed to open up land to the northeast of Norwich. And on there you'll see at the top a dotted line, land for potential for 1,000 houses between Salhouse Road and Plumstead Road. I don't know if you're aware of the community of that possible development. Obviously that's going to box in Thorpe End if it takes place. But anyway, you might like to take it away and show your neighbours. Another reason we oppose the NDR is because it's going to actually increase traffic on some roads, in particular radial roads in northeast Norwich. For example, Roxham Road in the morning, rush hour, will have an extra 58% increase in traffic beyond the outer ring road. Salhouse Road is going to get an extra 73% increase if the NDR is built. Plumstead Road 18%, North Walsham Road 60%. This is because the NDR as a distributor road is going to make it easier for motorists to take the radial they want to get into the city centre. We also oppose the NDR because it's going to increase reliance on car use. At the moment, what's being proposed in this joint core strategy for Norwich is major housing growth to the northeast of the city, but a lot of the employment growth is actually to the southwest, at the university, the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital and the research park. So you're going to get people coming from the northeast, driving on the MDR around the southern bypass to get to work in the southwest of the city. And that's before any bus links are in place. Well, an Achilles heel of this whole plan for northeast Norwich, the MDR growth and so on, is the POSIC hub. As I said, it's the first stage of the MDR. And the County and District Council sees as paving the way to opening up land for development in northeast Norwich. Now, the County and Broadland have currently promoted POSIC hub as an access road to a business park. This is so that they can avoid a public inquiry into what are actually county road schemes. You can see the POSIC hub on your plan here, you've got it in front of you. It's this big hub-shaped junction at the bottom. Now, in order to build the POSIC hub, what the county have got to do is they've got to close two slip roads here. One goes right from the southern bypass to the Yarmouth Road. One goes onto the southern bypass from Norwich. They've got to be closed through statutory orders. And then they're going to replace these current simple slip roads by this enormous hub, so that people will at present take a very simple movement to go from the southern bypass to the Yarmouth Road, and then in the future we've got to go around this enormous hub to get there. But, as I say, that's an Achilles heel, and I'm going to come back in my final piece about what you can do. Because if the slip roads aren't closed, if there's a public inquiry into them and the inspector decides that those slip roads shouldn't be closed because they cause too much inconvenience to too many people, then actually it puts the kibosh on the whole POSIC hub and MDR plan, and then potentially large-scale growth in northeast Norwich. So what's the NMTAG proposing as an alternative to this big road? Well, firstly, we feel that there should be a reduction in the scale of housing growth in northeast Norwich. I think putting a community there, probably 2 towns worth of new population there, is just overwhelming for a number of communities, and there'll be an amalgamation of a number of parishes in the area. Secondly, we want to develop a high-quality public transport network with cross-city bus links, for example, linking the northeast of Norwich to the southwest. We'd like to, or we prefer to see small-scale road building. For example, the Broadland local plan has got a number of small road links in it. They're in the adopted plan already, so they're going to go ahead. And then modest improvements to the POSIC hub, not this enormous great junction. And then we want to see travel planning measures, such as better bus timetable information, all sorts of basic things. And those sorts of measures have been shown to reduce traffic by 10%. And that would create capacity on the road network for things like cycle paths and bus lanes. So finally, what can you do to influence the situation? Well, one of the most important things is to write, or to go and see, or to telephone, or to email your MP, Keith Simpson, and tell him that you're not very happy about the situation. First of all, ask him to go and see the Transport Minister, and ask that the Minister holds a public inquiry into these slip and side road orders for POSIC Junction. SNUB has already succeeded in getting Keith Simpson to ask for a public inquiry, but please keep the pressure up. Secondly, ask your MP to go and see the Planning Minister to object to the excessive level of housing to be dumped on Norwich. Now, the Conservatives in their manifesto said that they were minded to remove the housing targets in the regional plans. So they are aware that, of public opinion.